Hello. So, last week was my week to have fun, and I tasted some grappas and gins and stuff. This week we're getting serious again. This week, particularly for the quintessentially American holiday of Thanksgiving, we are going to be tasting out a whole bunch of American rums. And today, to start the week off, we are going to be hitting the islands, particularly Hawaii and Puerto Rico for some rums. Hawaii, of course, is an island under the control of the United States with a little less than 1.5 million people living there. Puerto Rico, also an island under the control of the United States. Both, by the way, since the same year, I think, 1898. Puerto Rico has a population of just over 3 million. Hawaii is our 50th state. Puerto Rico, still a territory without any right of self-determination or representation. Why? I don't know, but we're gonna taste these. We're gonna taste these rums out and see what we got. Okay, so I have really just the one sample from Hawaii. This is a Kohana. I tried a bunch of their aged offerings, and actually Robin from This Blog's Neat sent me a little sample of their unaged, and I'm super duper pumped to try this. And then another viewer of the channel sent me a whole bunch of Puerto Rican stuff that I cannot get here. So we got a Rincón. We got two Artesanos. Glug, glug, glug. Some of these are more mysterious than others. We'll get to it. And one more Rum Pepón from San Juan Artisan Distillers. And again, ironically, they are not in San Juan. They're to the west of San Juan. Let's get the last of these poured, and we shall begin. Okay, starting off with Hawaii. Kohana. This is the Kea. Hawaiian Agricole Rum. I don't know exactly when this was bottled. Circa, a couple of years ago, 2023, somewhere in there. And they're on Oahu. They are crushing and distilling their own cane juice in their kind of hybrid still, inox and copper. And I hadn't really wanted to seek this out because it's 40%, and I thought there's not going to be anything left of it by then, but Robin insisted, so I'm going to taste this and review this for you. Yes. I mean, the nose has to be good. I mean, cane juice rums, made on anything short of a giant industrial column still, they're just going to have good noses. This is a good nose. Intense, pickle juice character on this. Yeah, pickle juice and mud. Well, not mud, not exactly. Almost like a wet clay. There's lots of rock powder and stuff kind of in there. It's kind of clayey. Olives, fennel, basil, mint. The full array of hippie toothpaste. Yeah, we're definitely on the savory spectrum of things here. There's some flowers, like swamp flowers, like slightly stinky, rotting flowers, but nice. I'm looking for fruit. Maybe a little touch of apricot in there. Like a little twist of key lime thrown in, but yeah, this is all about the pickle juice, the clay, the mud. Oh, tomato as well, sun-dried tomato. The herbs. Yeah, this is stinky, savory stuff. We're not in Claren territory here. We're much more. It's more controlled and well sorted than that. But yeah, you're not calling anything but cane juice rum on this. On the palate. So I am used to this feeling after having tasted many fruit brandies, eau de vies, where they're bottled at 40%, and the nose is phenomenal. It's fantastic. And then you taste them, and they're still kind of nice up front, and then they just kind of fall apart as you're drinking them. This is one of those. The arrival, the front end on this is so nice. It's, I mean, a lot of the same characters from before, except we're shifting things into a little bit more of a fruitier, even like almost more like a fruit candy direction. So you've still got your pickle juice, your olive, your fennel, basil, your mint, even a little bit of like a Peychaud's bitters thing. Your mud, your clay, rock powder, all that stuff. And the swamp flowers, the stinky flowers, all that's kind of in there. Plus, like a distinctive, what kind of candy is that? Not Skittles, like a Starburst fruit candy kind of thing. Leaning towards tropical, that key lime peel thing has kind of ratcheted itself up a little bit. So is the apricot thing. And then, like, you're enjoying that. You're like, oh, this is lovely. And then it just kind of, it just kind of falls apart. Like, it's gone by the time it hits my tonsils. Very little happening, past the front of my mouth. And yeah, there's a little bit of the flowers thing kind of sticks around in the finish, but most of this is just gone after a second or two. Doesn't have a ton of texture to it. No, there's some white pepper in there. That's nice. Yeah, this at 50% ABV, even 45. I will take 45. This should be so much better. In fact, I think they've released some slightly stronger version since this. But man, at 40, I mean, the nose is so good. The nose is what I want from a kind of artisanal cane juice rum producer. This is what I want on the nose. And the palate just needs more power. It just needs more. I'm going to give this literally like 2 drops of water just to see what happens to it. Because sometimes that can ferment up. You never quite know. Yeah, literally 2 drops. And yeah, I mean, clearly there's quality there. It just needs to be presented better. And I know it's expensive. But I feel like people would be willing to pay 10, 20, 30% more per bottle, if what's in the bottle is just, that much better. Like, I think the economics, I think that's how the economics works. Like, you hit a home run, you shouldn't be swinging for the fences at all times, but there's certain situations where you really need to try to hit a homer. And, get the press, get the love from the nerds. And this feels like one of those cases. Like, just try to hit it out of the park, guys. And, all right, moving on to Puerto Rico. This is Rincón, which I had never heard of before I got sent a little sample of it. Rincón is... I'm still trying to figure out exactly what this is, actually. So, the website suggests it's a blend of column-distilled molasses and pot-distilled sugarcane, which could be sugar, could be cane juice. I don't know. Probably cane juice, but I don't know. I'm assuming it's from the village of Rincón on the west coast of Puerto Rico, but I don't know. I couldn't find the distillery, and it also says, like, on the bottle. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull up a picture of the bottle. It's in Spanish. All right, translation on the fly. Yeah, the rum is distilled 5 times in small lots utilizing traditional techniques. So where are they getting the 5 times? Is that the column still? Is that the pot still? I don't know. I don't know exactly what's in this bottle, but it's 40%, and you can buy it if you're in Puerto Rico. Let's see what we got. Okay, so we're in that kind of... hold on, let me pull up my notes here. This is batch number 3, by the way. We're in that kind of like slightly vague, crafty rum territory. I am getting some rock candy on this. I'm getting a little touch of whipped cream. Slightly floral, too. There's some roses kind of coming through. Even some violets happening. Wow, okay. A touch of vanilla, but it's not from oak or anything. I think that's just from the nature of the column distillate. Little hint of salted licorice. Maybe a couple of wet rocks. Yeah, it's mainly the florals thing that's coming through. There's a little bit of there's a whiff of like red fruit. Maybe like some red plum or something. But yeah, it's mainly kind of like column distillate, nice column distillate, but column distillate with that kind of floral thing. That's the interest here. Okay. On the palate. Here's a little bit of a surprise. On the palate, this actually has more presence to it than the Kohana, which is not what I was expecting. Now, a lot of that presence is good old-fashioned, highly refined ethanol. So, black pepper, minerality, rocks, vanilla, whipped cream, rock candy. Touch of nice vodka. Nice vodka. And then kind of floating over that is the floral thing, that little whiff of red plum, the salted licorice. That's about it. I mean, this is a pretty simple rum. So it has more presence on the palate, ironically, than the Kohana, but even on the Kohana, at least on the front end, is more complex on the palate, and definitely more complex on the nose. Showing surprisingly well for its strength. I'm going to give this a couple drops. 1, 2. I'll keep it at 2. But yeah, can I recommend this over the basic European Charonda, which I reviewed in the past, which is also a blend of pot still cane juice and column distilled molasses? I don't think I can. Like, it's okay. Like, you give me a daiquiri with this stuff at the base of it, I'm going to be happy. Like, it's fine, but it's not crushing it for me so far. Okay, so let's see what we got here. This is our third 40%er of the video. Artesano. This is another mysterious producer. They are supposedly based in, Jayuya, in the center of the foresty, mountainy region of Puerto Rico. And this is their 2023 Artist Rum Series. So it's got like a box where an artist do a thing for them. But the fact is, it's 40%. It is 5 years old, pot distilled. I think it's pot distilled molasses, but I couldn't totally figure that out. Finished in Madeira cask. Let's see what we got here. rummy rum. I mean, yeah, this is like, it is so stereotypically rum. Like it just smells like I'm sticking my face into a vat of slightly boozy molasses. Huge molassesy character. Anything else? Well, black pepper, vanilla, pancake syrup like Aunt Jemima. So yeah, very, very savory. There's a little bit of black olive in here. Tobacco, yeah, a little bit of like a dark stove Virginia kind of character. Very, very, I mean, just super duper decadent. Other stuff. Am I getting any, like, I'm looking for a kind of, nutty character, or like the Madeira character coming through with this. Some honey. Not really. It's really dominated by the molasses note. It's so molassesy. And that's fine. Let's see what we got on the palate. Again, 40%. Come on, bring it. I'm telling you. Like all of Puerto Rico. Like I know I've been saying this for like years at this point, but everyone in Puerto Rico just needs to bottle at higher strength. Like look at what the Ron Pepón people are doing. At least do that good. At least get up to 45. Even 43, I'm not mad. But at least 45. And these will be so much better. It's doing the Kohana thing again. Nice arrival. I'm enjoying the arrival. There's some good flavors there. And then the thing just dies as it's traveling through my mouth. Oh, very rummy rum, molasses, RC cola, banana peel up front. It says pot-distilled, but you hand this to me neat, and I would think column still. It's got the dark Virginia tobaccos, the stove Virginias, the black pepper, a coffee characteristic. What is that? A little bit of like a cold brew coffee thing. Cinnamon stick. It does have a little bit of that kind of the ethanol-y character that the Rincón was also doing, but not too. I'm just kind of puzzled by this because it's so column stilly, but it does say 100% pot distilled on the bottle. Banana peel RC cola thing is totally just screaming column still at me, and yet it's not. It is not. Apparently. Yeah, this is another one where the flavors are nice. There's a nice punchiness on the arrival. And the problem is just malpresence and development. It just is gone by the time it hits my tonsils. Nothing going on back here. It's all in the front of my mouth. And the texture beyond like the very front of my palate is just not there. The finish, some of the bitterness, the tannins kind of stick around a little bit, but again, it's not through my mouth. A little bit of the RC cola sticking around a little bit, but it's not that much. Most of the flavors are just gone after a second or two. It's the kind of flavor profile that I feel like a ton of people could get into. The maniacs out there paying $1 zillion for bottles of 15-year-old Belize things would absolutely dig on this. If it were just bottled a little bit stronger. A little bit stronger. The island's kind of breaking my heart here. But now, things change because we start to get into the bottles that are actually presented at a decent strength, starting with the producer that redeemed Puerto Rico, in my eyes, San Juan Artisanal Distillers and Ron Pepón. This is their Añejo. Now, in the video about their Blanco, I did talk about how my hope for this line of bottlings, was not high because, I mean, it's cane juice rum, and they've aged in U.S. oak for, I think it's 2 or 3 years. Is that right? Yeah, 24 to 36 months. I find that cane juice rums at that age in that oak just present very bourbony. They present simpler than they are in just presented kind of straight off the still. But I have high hopes because I've enjoyed this producer in the past, and we're going to give it a try. We're going to see what they pulled off here. On the nose. Okay. Do I like this nose more than I like the Blanco? I don't think I do. Because the Blanco is just like so like savory and wonderfully, weird, man. And this is you've got that in there, but now it's color. Now, okay. So you got some vanilla, you got some creme brulee happening. And then you got like this really interesting kind of, it's florals and fruit. What is that? Almost rose water again, but also some wildflowers. Raspberry even, or almost like a raspberry, eau de vie kind of thing. Cherry, like definite red fruit stuff. Almost a Gushers candy kind of melange. Cinnamon. Allspice. And you got that, and then you got the really intense grungy rummy stuff, kind of not in the back exactly. It's just kind of coloring the thing. So you got your mix of olives. You got a little bit of fennel, but also like salted licorice at the same time. A couple of like stinky rocks that have like sea grunge growing on them. Here's a fun one that will make the fans happy. Petrichor. It does have that kind of like it just started to rain kind of quality to it. So kind of musty, I guess. Okay. In some ways, I don't think the nose is as good, but in some ways, I'm reminded of the Roulet-Saun, the aged Roulet-Saun I tried last year, or maybe a year or two ago, on the palate. The best thing on the table so far. That said, I still don't think I like it as much as the Blanco. Yeah, I mean, very much in character with the nose. So you've got a big old core, a spine. The spine of this is built from vanilla, like vanilla ice cream maybe, overstewed sweet tea, a little bit of cherry, some sawdust, a little fresh ginger, and then that's kind of playing with a whole bunch of, rummy stuff. You have the florals, your roses, your wildflowers, your kind of mixed herbs. There's some sage in this. The red fruit, raspberry, more cherry. Then you got your olive and your fennel and your black licorice and your stinky wet stones and your kind of musty kind of character. But this just has so much better mouth presence. So much better mouth presence than these first three here. And I think a lot of that is just down to the bottling strength. This is 45%. And wow, does that make a difference. Like, this is sticking around. There's some pepperiness, and that's sticking around. And the oversweet teas and the vanilla, all that stuff is sticking around. And some of the weirder rummy notes, all those are sticking around. It's starting to get into the back of my throat a little bit. I'm enjoying that. It's got more texture to it. Just everything about the development and the mouth presence on this is just better. And it's a lot, I think, down to the strength. All right, let's give this a squirt of water, and we'll move on. I would still, for me, this is not the way I would do this kind of bottling. I would do, some oaky rum blended with maybe a fresher rum, or I would just go all in on the age, give this a full 4 or 5 years in barrel to kind of let the spirit come back, because right now it's being a little bit buried by the oak, and I think it would come back if you let it go a little bit longer. But again, it's still beating these three, at least for now. We will come back. All right, last sample of the day, and then we're going to go back through, of course. Another Artesano from Jayuya. Very mysterious. My wife and I and family are planning to go to Puerto Rico sometime next year, and so I was looking, could I do a tour here, because I want to tour all the rum distilleries that are not the huge industrial monoliths. I want to try the little guys, and apparently these folks don't do tours, and I couldn't even figure out where the distillery was. But Artesano. This is the Single Barrel Edition 2023, and this was pot-distilled again. I think it's pot-distilled molasses. 7 years in ex-bourbon, bottled 11/4/23 at 52% alcohol by volume, which is better than 40. On the nose, again, this is so it's definitely more prickly. I'm definitely getting some more of a white pepper cumin character to this, but I like it. But it's definitely it's doing that same thing that the first Artesano did, which is it feels like a pot still doing its best column still impression, if that makes sense. We are still like heavily on molasses, but it's like spicy molasses. There's like maybe you threw a little cayenne in there as well. Also more floral. It's a rosewater kind of day. I'm getting some rosewater on this. Some violets on this. And definitely some like mashed fruits. There's a little bit of like an IHOP syrup melange thing going on here. So you poured some blueberry in and some raspberry in. All the syrups. Including just regular old pancake syrup, like Aunt Jemima. Oh, okay, but there is like a little... What is that? It's like a rustic tea note. It's like a... What is that? It's like a Russian caravan tea with a little bit of lapsang in there, a little bit of smokiness. Certainly some tobacco. We are what tobacco? Again, it's more like bright, darker Virginias. I'm sorry. So black stoved, red stove Virginias, that kind of thing. Maybe a little bit of natural leaf cigar in there too. Less decadent than the the Artist Rum Series. Less nutty. Even the molasses part, which is totally present, just feels more kind of spicy and austere than it does like, desserty. Okay, on the palate. Absolutely. Like, seriously, if you like those big bourbon-y molasses bombs coming out of Belize and featured in all the independent bottlers, every single one of them has one, you need to try to find this if you are ever in Puerto Rico, because you will like this profile. It is very heavy on, like, bourbon barrel-aged molasses, cut with black tea and maybe a touch of espresso. Black pepper. That kind of cayenne thing too, though. But then in the inhale, in the finish, you do recognize you've got the fennel, you've got the not much olive, but it's like half a black olive, but it's in there. A little touch of aniseed. It's most definitely a rum. It is such a rummy rum. This is a very, very rummy rum, but it's a good version of that kind of profile, and well above and beyond the Artist Rum series. This one sticks around in the mouth. This, again, you don't need to push the bottling strength up into the 60s. You can. I won't complain. I'll go buy your stuff if y'all ever get it into shelves here, or even into online retailers that I can access. Just get it up into the mid 40s, the 50%, little over 50% like this. That's all you need, just to give the development and the mouth presence like some substance to it. Kind of ashy. It's fun. Definitely the tobacco thing, but it's like half smoked tobacco. It's like you packed a pipe with a ton of Virginias, darker Virginias, and you kind of lit it up, and then you ran out of time, and you kind of had to dump it. That's a little bit what this smells like. Tastes like. Grippy, very tannic and peppery on the finish, but the Pepsi and stuff. Oh, there's not Pepsi. RC Cola and banana peel. Column-distilled stuff, right? That kind of sticks around. There's a halo of that sticking around. There's some florals along with the fruit. That all sticks around pretty well. Texture's not amazing, but it's pretty good. I think actually the Pepón was getting further back into my tonsils here, but this is probably still the best mouth presence in the lineup. Not a huge surprise given the age and the bottling strength. So let's give this some water. We'll come back to it. I mean, not a ton of surprise. Oh, maybe I'll give that more water. Hold on. Yeah, let's do like half a squirt more. And I'll leave it there. All right. Back through one more time. Starting with the Hana Kea. I love this nose. Has it changed with 2 drops of water? No, not really. It has not. It's still like going so hard on the savory end of things, but it's like it's controlled savory. Like, we are not in out of control Clarentown here. This is a controlled, minimum effective dose of savoriness. And I'm down with that. Please be better on the palate. Please. Damn it. Nope. It does not improve on the palate. In fact, it gets a little bit ethanol-y. No, it's fine. I mean, it's not fine. I'm mad. I'm angry because this would be so much better at higher strength. It really would. Just give me an extra 3-5%, guys. Please, I am begging you. This could be so much better. It does, well, I mean, it was falling apart on the palate before I added my 2 drops of water, but now, like, even more so, it's just not... We're getting into rock candy territory with this. I'm not going to give it a minus, but it didn't like the water. Tough to score because the nose is I mean, it's good stuff. The quality is clearly there, but I didn't bring the right. I brought my pen and not my Sharpie. Damn it. Okay, so we're just going to write this down on my notes here. It hurts me. I'm going to give this an 82. It just the palate is not up there with the nose, and that sucks. And I don't like it. And I know the better version is out there, and I would like to try that because I've enjoyed everything I've had from Kohana that's bottled at proper strength. Moving on, Rincón. Mysterious blend of column-distilled molasses and pot-distilled sugarcane, distilled 5 times, whatever that means. Once again, nose is pretty much the same. I mean, it's column distillate, good column distillate, with a little bit of a more floral, like rosy, fruity character. Maybe like an extra couple of rocks thrown in there now. But that's about it. On the palate. It didn't like that either. Well, now the mouth presence is kind of right where the Kohana was. Which is to say, it kind of falls apart the second it hits your palate. I mean, it's daiquiri fodder, and that's fine. It really is fine, but with better presentation, this would be so much better. It really would. Rock candy, whipped cream, some flowers and fruit, and a little bit of like salted licorice, and that's kind of what this is. I don't know. I don't hate it. It's not good. It's not shit. It's somewhere right in the middle. So let's give it a score that is like, somewhere right in the middle. I'm going to go 79 points on this Rowan Rincón. I think better bottling strength would do wonders. I mean, like, go crazy, folks. There aren't enough Puerto Rican overproofs out there. Put this out at like some insane percentage and put it on U.S. shelves and see what people think. I think you'd have some fans. All right, moving on to the Artesano Artist Rum Series 2023. Yeah, now it just smells like pancake syrup. It's good pancake syrup. Okay, pancake syrup with a little bit of molasses mixed in. Okay, a lot of molasses. Coffee grinds. I mean, honestly, this is what people think port smells like before they actually, get one. This is like the image, the coffee, the toffee, the syrup. No, it's still got the kind of RC Cola flowers, banana peel thing in there. Okay, not a whole lot of change on the nose of this one either. Maybe a little bit more pancake syrupy on the palate. Everyone, if you are a small producer anywhere in the U.S., seriously, I don't care what category, rum, fruit brandy, whiskey, whatever it is, do not bottle your stuff at 40%. Just do not do it. You live in a world where, people can go buy a basic sub $20 bourbon and at least get 43-45%. Right? I mean, so you have to give them at least that much if you're going to make a case for your sort of artisanal product. No more of this. Seriously, I'm done. It's 2025, folks. Heading into 2026, it is time for the 40% bottling strength to die. At least in these kinds of categories. That was a little ranty. Sorry. Palate's about the same. About where it was. Pleasant little rival. Very decadent, very syrupy, molassesy, but rummy at the same time. Column-distilled molassesy rummy. I would not nail this as pot still if you gave it to me blind. And then it just kind of falls apart. A couple of things stick around, but the finish is not amazing. Do I like the Kohana more? No, I think this and the Kahana are kind of right on par. I'm going to call this an 82 as well. 82 points for the Artist Series Artesano. Moving on to Rum Pepón. Finally something with some in full fat form. And even on the nose. These things kind of start crumbling a little bit even on the nose. You can feel the fragility of them. It didn't. It's not amazing changes with the water, but it feels like it took on more heft, more fat with the additional water rather than losing it. It feels like the same nose. Lots of bourbony stuff, but then you have the fruity notes and the rummy notes and those little savory hints. And everything has just been dialed up a little bit. Maybe you're getting a hair bit more fruit and a hair bit less savory. It's still a good nose. And one that does not present bourbon, which is what I was worried about on the palate. Just in terms of mouth presence, just in a different league than the previous three. I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. This is... this just has more on it than any of these previous three. Like, this is winning. It's not even super duper complex. It's very bourbony. It's got the florals and the fruit. Savory kind of pulls back a little bit once again on the palate. But it just feels like it's doing more with what it's got in my mouth. And it just has more grip now that I've added water. That longer finish. Not a huge improvement. I'll give it a plus, though. So, yeah, I will call this... right, I don't have a Sharpie. I will call this an 84 plus. That seems pretty fair. 84 plus for the Rum Pepón Añejo. And let us move on to our last glass, because I need to shut this down pretty soon. Artesano Single Barrel Edition, 52%. This one also, surprisingly, because I gave so much more water to it, also hasn't really changed the nose. It just feels like, in some ways, like a darker, more austere version of the same set of flavors going on in the Artist series. Very molassesy, tobacco, ash, coffee, molasses. Yeah, like IHOP syrups, sure. Good nose. Dark nose. Again, you know who you are. If you like the Belize stuff, like all those kind of rums, whatever they're called, whatever you want to call them, you will like this on the palate. I would never call pot still. I really wouldn't. Yeah. Well, I don't know. The RC Cola floral banana peel thing really dominates on the palate, plus some ashiness, some black pepper, the darker Virginia tobaccos. You know, the rummy characters, your fennel and an olive, a little bit of that. Is the Pepón going to win this? Hold on. You know what? I think the little improvement that the Pepón made with the addition of water has put it above this. I think the Pepón is the best thing here. This is still good. It's still super duper delicious, and it's much more kind of obviously wood driven than the Pepón is, which is pretty darn wood driven. But yeah, with water, I think there is a difference. So I'm going to give this an 84 out of 100. 84 out of 100. And yeah, there we are. That is the video. So DFL, but with respect, Rincón Silver Rum. I think they got something here. I like this combination of whatever stuff is going on in this bottle, and I wish they were a little more transparent about it, but, you know, I think they've got something here. It just needs to be bottled at higher strength. If they want a better product, 45 would be fine. If they want a notorious product that will attain a bit of a reputation, they should bottle it way higher than that. but 79 points. Yeah. Tied for 82 are the Hana Kea and the Artist Rum Series thing. They both just need to be higher strength. Both of these have the foundations of good rum. They just need to be higher strength. Period. Particularly like the Kohana. There's a ceiling on this. There's a high ceiling on this, and the bottling strength is just pulling it down. And then 84 points for the Artesano single barrel. Proof and point of how bottling strength can really push things up. And again, if you like the Belize stuff and those kinds of bourbon-leaning rums, see if you can find this. If you're on vacation, I think you might appreciate it. But the winner, to my surprise, is the Ron Pepón Añejo. I did not think this would be my favorite thing. I was I don't even know. I might have scored it higher than the Blanco. I don't remember, but I scored that. But this is good. I mean, it's really like the wood is in charge. Absolutely no doubt about that. But it's got such a beautiful color and extra detail from the quality of the distillate, the quality of the rum, that it still works. 84 plus. And yeah, that is the islands done and dusted. Thank you for watching, and cheers.